My name is Boris. I'm from Slovenia, from the second largest city, which is called Maribor, and I'm professor of history and geography. I teach in first gymnasium Maribor in English and Slovenian. It's Prva gymnazija Maribor, which is one of the oldest high school in our country, and probably say it like this, the best. Not the best, but one of the best. And also some kind of professional history, and my main subjects are medieval, nobility, and Holocaust. My latest is the project which was connected with the exhibition from House of Anne Frank in Amsterdam, in Holland. Anne Frank is probably very well known victim of Holocaust, the most known, I don't know, probably especially for the youngsters, because their diary still after all that years is something which I think must everybody reads, not just the youngsters, but youngsters usually. Not very long ago it was compulsory in Slovenian schools to read that diary. Nowadays not, but I read it when I was in primary school. Anyway, when there was opportunity to be host of that well-known exhibition about Anne Frank and his family and his diary and so on, I decided to make also one annex to this exhibition, and which was named Anna's Peers from Maribor. Because there was not a lot of Jews in Maribor, but some of them of course, they were children and youngsters. And as I said before, I'm trying to put some stories, not very big stories. Almost all, of course, finish very sadly because the people and the children were killed. But I was very pleased because I found very good team from the students, which were guides on that exhibition. I prepared, of course, that research material and with the help of some institution make exhibition, but actually the success of the exhibition was upon them because they were the guides. And I must say that I'm a little bit proud because in approximately 1 month there was approximately 1,800 visitors for what is for amateurs like we are. Of course we are not museum. Quite a big success. And there was a lot of media also on television, national television actually, not just in local television and the newspapers and on. And of course there was also a goal because I used Anne Frank to show that Anne Frank was not the only one. And also in our city we have some stories, of course they cannot be so documented like Anne Frank because there is no diary. In some cases just the names and some facts, but in some cases when for example, one or two of the children at that time of the youngsters survived. There is also some big stories, and there are some pictures, and probably I believe that in Slovenia, and especially in Maribor, the awareness of Holocaust and the Jewish community before war, and no Jewish community at that time, is much bigger than was before. When I was thinking what to say as a bigger success, I was thinking that I would like to say some other story. And actually that happens 2 years ago, when the same week, two of my ex-students, not these days students, one of them is actually here in Lublin with me. He finished high school in 1999, and the other is now a student of Czech language. That student is historian, the other is Czech language. Of course, she's not with us, but anyway, from the different points, they didn't know for each other because there is such a big difference in the years. She ended high school in 2008, and he in 1999. So they are not a generation. But anyway, I was a teacher of them both. They called me and sent me something which was very similar. But of course, the idea beyond that is also the same. That student of mine, which I said that study Czech language, was at that time in Czech Republic, in Olomouc, and there was at that time opening of the Stolpersteine. Perhaps you know what is this? This is a German word. It's a little bit hard. It's not easy to translate in English, but something like stones of obstacle. When you have a street and pavement, and there is a palm stones, very little thing actually, but there are stones. And that stone, if it's a little bit higher, then when you're walking, you hit it. So that means obstacle, yes? On that stone is the name of one person who died during the Second World. It's not just Jews, but with the Jews, the thing begins. And that stones are usual before the house where that persons before war or before the Holocaust or something like this lived. Like he lived this and this, born on that and that died, deported to Auschwitz, that died, or be killed, that and that date. So because of course you have to have some data, and the idea was, she said, okay, here in Olomouc, in Czech Republic, they just unveiled, 100 of that Stolpersteine. Is it possible to make something like this in Maribor? And I said, I was thinking for a lot of time, because I know that well-known action. I think until now it's about 40,000 that's Stolpersteine around the world, mainly, of course, still in Germany. And I said, okay, well, we'll see. And maybe one day after, the second student, the historian student, asked me to prepare some exhibition about the Jews, history of Jews, of course, Maribor Jews, in connection with the exhibition library. And I said, is this everything, or you want something more? Yes, and is it possible to put some monument or something that this is not just action for, I don't know, that one exhibition for 1 month, for 3 months, whatever, but something which will stay. And this is, of course, independently from the different parts of Europe, actually. There was action, and last year, when our city, Maribor, was European capital of culture, one of the things which are also connected with this is 12 Stolpersteins. For 2 families, before the places where they lived, and of course, this is a very little thing, and probably majority of people will never see. But this is also some information that who wants to see will see, and probably most of the others just if they're hit and not not intentionally but unintentionally. But anyway, maybe this is my biggest educational success. Usually it's not also shared with our Jewish Israeli friends, but I think that more than 70 years after the beginning of the war, almost 70 years after the end of the war, we must see that Europe today is much better than was Europe before the Second World War. And if we ask ourselves why is this, it's of course because of a lot of hard lessons from the Second World War. Not just about human rights, also, for example, French and Germany, Poland and Russia, ex-Yugoslavia, okay, there are problems still. Anyway, Slovakia and Hungary, there is a lot of that problems which were not solved yet, but okay, the things have changed because there is no such a radicalism. There is no way to, I think so, that there will be war between Slovakia and Hungary because of the Hungarian minority, for example. And when we ask why like these things are, then must be said also that this is also because of that extremely high number of the weakness, not the Jews, all the Europeans, 60 millions, okay, in the world, majority of them also in Europe. And this is some kind of legacy which must be every time again repeated. That victims at the end are not in vain. I don't know. It's good to see, but it's good to hear. But something like this, their sacrifice makes some results. And not just peace, economical conditions in which we are live today. Of course, there were some economical crises last 2 days, but Poland in 80 years of last century was, of course, not a very big economical success. But we live all in Europe, live much better than our grandfathers live. And when we again ask ourselves why is this, I think so, also because the lessons which we get from the Second World War. So, not just Jews, but all other victims must be commemorated. But when we ask also again, for example, in Slovenia, there were a lot of victims in Second World War, but never such a type of victims. This was genocide. Maybe the Jews in Second World War, the Holocaust victims, are the most important. So because of this, for me, was no trouble to understand why is this important and why will be important also in next decades. And I just hope that in 100 years or something like this, Europe will be also prosperous as it now is. Okay, we have some problems, I know, but this is nothing compared to the Second World War or economic crisis before the Second World War. And the political parties, like, I don't know, Hitler's Nazi party, if you compare with the neo-Nazis, this is nothing special. Hitler was dangerous because the mind of the people today is also different. The school system is different. There is such much democratization that maybe sometimes it's also a question. Maybe it's not too much democratization, but anyway, all this is because of the Second World War. And probably not just historians, also politics and all other important people must know this. And because of this, as I said, it's no problem why to commemorate those victims.